My mute sister spoke for the first time last night. Part 2. Listen guys, I'm sorry I went MIA, but the situation got worse the last few days. The day I last wrote to you guys, I saged every room in the house and went around twice just to be sure I really did the job. I was more confident reading your guys' comments and also scheduled an appointment with Melissa's doctor to see if it truly could be possible she had summoned the will to talk during her sleep. The soonest appointment they had was yesterday. That left 2 nights before that. On the first night, I was studying in my den. I've been cramming and studying when I'm not at my internship. I was preparing myself for a late night and thought if I pushed through the last few pages, I could be done in half an hour, which would be around 2 a.m. All of a sudden, it went silent. I'm not sure if silent is the right word. It's more like when you go to the bottom of the pool and your ear won't pop. Like you're in a bubble underwater. That's what it was like. Then, gradually, the sound began to fade back in. This may not sound scary, but it was more strange to me than anything. You'd have to be there, and if you have experienced it, you should know what I mean. I decided it was just my brain's way of telling me I had been studying for too long, and went to bed. I got into bed, and when I closed my eyes, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was staring at me. I would open my eyes every few minutes, just to be sure that there wasn't anyone there. Of course, there wasn't. I finally forced myself to keep my eyes closed, and eventually drifted to sleep. I don't know at what point it was that I was woken up. I just knew I was awakened by a loud slam. That loud slam just happened to be the door to my room. I got up and felt my way for the door and the light in the darkness, wondering who in the hell woke me up in the middle of the night. I switched on the light. Nothing happened. No light. I twisted the door handle and it just jiggled like it was locked. At this point, I did what every rational human being would do and started jiggling the fucking handle, trying to open the door and flicking the light back and forth. I got over this fast and knew it wouldn't work. "This isn't funny," I shouted. Nobody responded. I started banging a little harder and the feeling of someone staring at me came back. But now I could feel breathing on the back of my neck to accompany it. Just then my mom came through the door as I threw myself into her, sobbing. I didn't get much sleep the rest of the night. The next day I noticed Melissa had significantly dark circles under her eyes. I thought that maybe something was keeping her up too. I packed the bag and went to my grandmother that night and didn't come home until yesterday, just before Melissa's doctor's appointment. When I saw Melissa, I was in disbelief, to say the least. She looked exhausted, pale, like the life was sucked out of her. I was glad we were going to the doctors and hopeful we could get some answers. Unfortunately, we got the opposite. They told us in basic terms that she doesn't have the motor skills to speak. She couldn't have. They also said she just needs to get more sleep. But how? She seemed out of energy, so she'd been taking naps. Maybe at night? When we got home, my mom looked more confused than before. I was nervous to spend my first night back in the house, but I decided not to let these things discourage me. I wasn't going to be scared out of my own house. My mom made dinner and I popped a movie in after that. Before I knew it, I had fallen asleep on the couch. I always tell myself I need to stop doing that. I tuned into what sounded like whispering. Immediately I was thinking, no, fuck no, not tonight, not again. Of course, so many other things ran through my mind too. I needed to check her. I figured I could wake her up, or whatever it was already keeping her awake, and that's why she was so tired. I snuck over to the room and screamed, louder, bigger, more scared than I ever had before. Someone had been standing next to her bed, like in my dreams, and whispering to her. As I reached for the light, it turned and I flicked it on and there was nothing. Nothing next to the bed and no one. I know I was awake. I know I was. My scream woke up my mom. She said that her fiancé could stay at his brother's for a while so I could sleep with her and he wouldn't have to keep sleeping on the couch. This image was burned into my brain. Today I woke up and went to my internship all day long. I got back about 2 hours ago. My mom and I tried to cleanse the house again. We also tried other suggestions. I hope I can get some sleep tonight. I'll update soon. Thank you all for the support.